I've lived in Spain for 21 years. I've tried to build businesses here. I've had meetings with town council, supermarket chains, shopping centres and even IKEA. But every single time, Spain found a way to say no. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, because if you're thinking of coming here to earn a living, you need to hear this before you do. Before I tell you what happened, I want to be clear about something. I'm not someone who had never run a business before. I built a successful business in the UK. I know what it takes. I know how to spot an opportunity and execute on it. So when I tell you what Spain did with my ideas, understand this wasn't inexperience. This wasn't naivety. This was just Spain. When I first moved to Spain, I genuinely believed that if you had a good idea, worked hard, put in the effort, you'd find a way to make it work. That's how it works in the UK, right? You have an idea, you register the company, sometimes in a single afternoon, and you get started. Well, as I've mentioned in another video, Spain is nothing like that. Nothing. Okay, so I want to rewind to 2009, because in 2009, I spotted an opportunity in Puerto Banús, close to Marbella. There was a disused kiosk sitting empty in the main square of Puerto Banús. After a bit of digging, I found out that it was owned by the town council, and it was sitting there doing nothing, generating nothing for anyone. I come up with this idea of a smoothie kiosk. It's Puerto Banús, there's tourists everywhere. It's a very health conscious crowd there. The perfect location, a good, simple idea, the kind of idea that works. So I did exactly what you're supposed to do. I went to the town hall, I requested a meeting with the councillor, and I was told that before they'd even consider renting that kiosk to me, I had to submit a full business plan. So fine, no problem with that at all. I put in the work, I submitted everything they asked for, and then I waited. As I've said in previous videos, nothing in Spain happens quickly, and communication is something that certainly is very slow. So at this point, a month had passed and I'd heard absolutely nothing. So I decided to get in the car, go back to the town hall, and I found the councillor who I'd previously had the meeting with. And it was at this point that the councillor simply turned around and just told me that my business idea had been rejected. And their reason, get this, was it would take trade away from existing businesses. Now, obviously, I'd done my market research before I was looking to even open this business, and there were no businesses selling smoothies. You know, all the businesses in that area were selling mainly alcohol. There's bars and restaurants there. So this was just a rubbish excuse in my mind. Anyway, I left the town hall, and as you can imagine, I walked away very confused and extremely frustrated. Anyway, let's fast forward 3 weeks, because 3 weeks later, I was passing that very same kiosk and I saw some work going on. So I got out the car, I went up to the guys that were doing the work in there, and I asked what's happening. And they told me that a Spaniard had taken over the kiosk and it was being transformed into a smoothie business in the exact same kiosk. So obviously, at this point, I was starting to think something fishy is going on here. So I'd done a little bit of digging around, and I later found out that it was a family member of the very councillor I'd sat across the table from. Now, that business is still open to this day. It does very, very well. And every time I drive past it, I can't help but think about what Spain did with my idea. Let that sink in for a moment. So even though I've been left with a very bitter taste in my mouth from the way that this town councillor had literally stolen my idea, my whole business plan, and just given it to one of their family members to set up the business, I didn't give up. I'm not someone who gives up easily. So I came up with another idea. And this time it was car valeting services in the underground car parks of a large supermarket. Convenient for shoppers, brilliant footfall, relatively low overheads. So I approached one of the biggest supermarket chains in Spain, and they said yes, they loved the idea. Then the town council got involved once again, and they blocked it. And their reason this time was that they was worried that chemicals would leak into the water supply. So I reassured them that I would install full filtration systems, I would only use biodegradable products, everything you could possibly use to make sure it was environmentally responsible. But that didn't matter. They just, big cross, blocked it at the outset. So at this point, I certainly wasn't going to give up. I wasn't going to let this system try and beat me. So I took that same concept to IKEA España. I got a meeting, I presented the idea, and again, just the same as the supermarket chain had, they absolutely loved it. They could see the benefit for their customers. But one of the things I learned during that initial meeting with IKEA is that IKEA don't actually own the land that their stores are built on. They rent it. So now I needed a three-way meeting between me, IKEA and the landowners. So a few weeks later, we had that meeting and the landowners agreed to the concept in principle. But this is the but, and it's a big but. They wanted €150,000 entry fee plus 5,000 a month in rent for a car valeting business. You can imagine at this point, the numbers simply didn't stack up. So I walked away. However, I still believed in the idea. Now, let's not get this mixed up. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I was simply taking a concept that I'd seen in the UK and trying to bring it to Spain. In the UK, this kind of business works very well. Customers love it. They can drive their car to a shopping retail park, go shopping, come back to a nice, clean, valeted vehicle. So with that in mind, I tried one more time. So this time I got a meeting with the general manager of La Cañada shopping centre in Marbella. Now, La Cañada is one of the biggest retail destinations on the Costa del Sol, massive footfall, and thousands of cars use it every single day. If I remember correctly, I think I was told 8,000 cars a day actually use that car park. So yeah, it was great for footfall. Anyway, here's what made this deal feel different. Unlike the IKEA deal, in the IKEA deal, I still, on top of that 150,000 entry fee and the 5,000 a month in rent, I would have had to pay to construct a facility. At La Cañada, there was already an existing car wash facility on site, empty, not being used, and was just sitting there doing nothing, not earning anyone anything. So I wasn't asking them to build anything. I wasn't asking for anything complicated. I just wanted the keys to something that was already there, already built, and already doing nothing. Anyway, we managed to negotiate that the La Cañada was happy to take the deal on. He liked the idea, he could see the benefit for his customers, and he wanted to go ahead and do the deal. But this is where I get frustrated in Spain, because unlike in the UK, both parties that are sitting in these kinds of meetings have one question in mind, and that is, what's in it for me? However, in Spain, they don't seem often to be able to see past what's happening right now. And it was at that point that he hit me that he wanted a €200,000 entry fee and 10,000 euros per month in rent for a car wash facility that was already sitting there empty, earning nothing for anybody. So that was 3 attempts at the same solid business idea, blocked by a council, priced out by IKEA's landlords, and then priced out again by a shopping centre that would rather let the facility sit empty than make it accessible to someone without having to put 200,000 euros up front. And unfortunately, this is Spain's attitude to new business. And I'm not saying that with any kind of bitterness, but with years of business experience behind me. Entrepreneurship here in Spain is simply not encouraged. It's tolerated at best, and I suppose you could say obstructed at worst. And I want to be honest with you, I'm not alone in this. Over the 21 years I've been here in Spain, I've watched expat after expat arrive, full of energy, full of ideas, and full of optimism. And most of them end up in one or two places. They either end up opening a bar and they work themselves into the ground just to break even. I mean, I've generally watched good people, good hard-working people pour everything they have into a bar in Spain and come out the other side with absolutely nothing. It's not a business model, I think, a lot of the time. It's just a trap. And the other option is they go home. Because here's the truth about Spain that nobody else will put in their YouTube videos, and that is Spain isn't a country that encourages entrepreneurship. The systems aren't built for it. The bureaucracy isn't designed to help new businesses start. It's designed to protect the existing businesses. And as a foreigner, when you're trying to open a new business here in Spain, you're at the back of every single queue. Now, employment, let's get on to employment, because employment isn't much better. Jobs almost always go to Spaniards first. And I think that's a good thing. I think Spain should look after their own first. So don't get me wrong on that. But if you are fortunate enough to find work, the salaries are simply a fraction of what you would earn doing the exact same job back in the UK. Now, one of my viewers, they commented on my last video and they said something that absolutely stopped me in my tracks and also gave me the idea to put this video together today. So I'm going to put it up on screen and I'm going to read it exactly as he wrote it. Okay, so here's his comment. Sure, if you have an amazing pension or can live on stock dividends, then life is great. But if you're a normal person who needs to work to survive, Spain is a difficult place to break into. I've been living and working in Madrid for 20 years and married to a Spaniard. If it hadn't been for her, things would have been different and much more difficult. Now, 20 years in Spain, this commenter says, married to a local, and he's still saying this. I think that tells you everything you need to know. Now, I want to be completely fair because Spain absolutely works financially for certain people, and I don't want to paint a picture that's bleaker than reality. If you're coming, say, with a UK pension, Spain is incredible value. Your money undoubtedly stretches further than it does in the UK. The cost of living, the food, the lifestyle, all of this on a decent pension genuinely makes this place feel like paradise. Or, for example, if you have a passive income, investments, dividends, maybe rental income coming back from the UK, again, Spain is an amazing place to live on that money. Then, if you work remotely, maybe for a UK or international company, and you can bring your income with you, again, Spain works beautifully. The digital nomad life here is real and it's good. But if you're coming here thinking you'll figure it out once you arrive, you'll figure out how to earn, then please watch this video again. Now, I do need to point out that I love Spain. Of course I love it. I've been here 21 years and I'm not going anywhere soon. But I did come here naive about business and money, and it's cost me years of frustration trying to build something in a system that simply wasn't designed for people like myself. The smoothie kiosk in Puerto Banús is still there, still doing very well, still run by a councillor's family member using my idea. And I have made my peace with that. But you don't have to learn these lessons the hard way, and that's why I've made this video for you. If you're thinking about making a move to Spain, come here with your eyes wide open. Have your income sorted before you arrive. Don't rely on Spain to provide it for you. Now, I'm really hoping that this video you found useful today and at the very least entertaining. My channel is all about my 21 years of experience here in Spain, and these kinds of videos I like to put out to hopefully save you guys some of the pain that I've had to experience during my years here in Spain. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free. Also, drop your questions and your own experiences maybe in the comments below. I read every single one and I always reply. Anyway, enjoy whatever you're doing for the rest of the day, and I'll catch you in the next one.